Welcome back to the Herbal Oils Workshop. This is part two, and whether you're brand new to working with oils or you've been experimenting a little and want to build more confidence, you're in the right place. Please take a moment to settle in and say hi in the chat. Tell us where you're tuning in from and let us know if you were able to catch part one of this series. I'm Lindsay Feldposh, Assistant Director here at the Herbal Academy, and I have many years of experimenting and teaching about how to craft the best herbal preparations. In our first session, we talked about 7 simple ways we can use herbal oils to support our everyday life, from soothing sore joints to caring for your skin, to helping with hair and even respiratory support. You now know how powerful and versatile an herbal infused oil can be. And today we're going to take it a step further. We'll be talking about two of the most common worries people have when they first start making oils: spoilage and potency. Then I'll show you a safe and reliable method to make peppermint infused oil in your own kitchen. Our team has guided over 175,000 students through their herbal studies, and we've heard time and time again how much more confident students feel when they can take what they've learned and get hands-on experience so they can feel that they're confidently applying this in real life. This workshop series was created to help you do exactly that, so you can develop practical skills and make safe and effective herbal infused oils that you can trust. So let's get started. First off, thank you for all the amazing responses to our first workshop. It has been such a joy to hear from all of you. Some of you emailed us, some of you commented on our social posts, and others shared in the chat during the replay. I loved seeing which of the 7 ways really spoke to you. A lot of you mentioned how exciting it was to realize that herbal infused oils can do more than just moisturize your skin. Some of you were drawn to using them for first aid, others wanted to dive into hair oils, and quite a few of you said that you can't wait to try making your own rollers of herbal oils for easy application for a variety of uses. I even saw a couple of you say that you had no idea oils could help with respiratory support. That's exactly why we started this series, because herb-infused oils are often overlooked. And once you see what they can do, it opens up a whole new world. Herbal oils are versatile. If you missed the first class, don't worry. You'll find the replay link in your email, and I definitely recommend watching it before you move too far ahead in this series. That session was all about possibility. We talked about common issues like sore joints, breakouts, and bug bites, how oils can become a tool you'll use in your everyday life. We also started to build a foundation together, not just how herbal oils can be used for support of common concerns, but how empowering it feels when you make something with your own hands. That was a big theme in your feedback too. So today we are going to build on that foundation. If part one was about why herbal infused oils matter in an herbalist toolkit, then part two is about how to actually make one without the stress or second guessing. And to get us rolling, I would love to know, what was your favorite takeaway from part one? Type it in the chat. Maybe it was learning about plantain oil for first aid, or maybe it was the idea of using rosemary infused oil or nettle infused oil for scalp health, or maybe it was simply realizing how versatile a single jar of oil can be when you're using it as an ingredient or in other preparations as well. So here's what usually happens after part one. You leave excited, maybe even ready to grab a jar and try to make your first herbal oil, but then the questions start creeping in. What if my oil goes bad? What if I waste my herbs? What if I do all this work and my oil isn't potent enough? I hear these same worries all the time. And to be honest, I had them too when I first started out. We all do. I remember making my first herbal oil with fresh herbs. I had wilted cleavers and I was so proud of myself. I thought that I was doing it all right until about a week later when I opened up the jar and it smelled real bad. That's because the herbs had let the water into the oil, mold had started to grow, and it had gone rancid. And all that work right into the compost. If this has happened to you, let me know. Drop a yes in the chat. Maybe you've had something spoil, a tea, a syrup, an oil. The truth is, oils can spoil if we don't prepare them the right way. Fresh herbs are beautiful, but they naturally hold water, and water is the enemy of oil infusions because it creates the perfect environment for mold and bacterial growth. That's usually what leads to waste. Now, there's good news. This isn't a dead end. There's one simple thing you can do to cut down on the risk of spoilage dramatically, and that's to start with dried herbs. Not to say that you can't use fresh herbs. You can, but you have to do it right. Dried herbs are easy and reliable. They've got significantly less water content, which means your oil is far more likely to last without any issues. And if you're brand new to making herb infused oils, dried herbs are the easiest way to get a win right away. I'd love to hear from you. How many of you have jars of dried herbs sitting at home right now? Maybe plantain, chamomile, peppermint. Let me know in the chat which ones you've got on hand that you're thinking about making oils with. That's where we're going to start today. I'm going to show you how to make a peppermint infused oil using dried peppermint leaf. This method is quick, cuts down on all the worry about spoilage, and produces an effective herbal infused oil. Once you see how easy this is, you'll feel a lot more confident moving forward. All right, now let's roll up our sleeves and get hands-on. I'm going to show you exactly how to make a peppermint herbal oil using what's called the Folk method. For this demo, we're going to use a heated maceration technique to gently infuse the herb into the oil using a water bath in a slow cooker, producing a potent herbal oil quickly thanks to the addition of heat to help break down the cell walls of the herb and extract those beneficial phytochemicals. This is one of my favorite methods to teach because it's simple and reliable. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of the equation and it's fast. You don't have to wait weeks before you get to use your oil. And peppermint is one of the most versatile herbs you can have in your toolkit. Of course, it smells amazing, it's cooling, and it's stimulating. Not only will you have a finished oil by the end of the day, but you also have something you can use in lots of ways in your herbal toolkit. Let's go step by step together. Step 1, start by grinding herbs into a coarse powder in a mortar and pestle, or a coffee grinder, or an herb grinder. Break them with your hands to create small pieces, or purchase cut and sifted herbs. Add herbs to a clean, dry, heat-safe glass jar. I can't stress dry enough. Even a drop of water left in there can cause problems later on. Fill your jar about halfway with dried peppermint. We're using dried here on purpose because of the very, very low water content remaining in well-dried herbs. This means less chance of spoilage. Step 2, next, choose your carrier oil. Olive oil is usually a go-to and typically easy to find. Jojoba oil is great if you want a lighter feel on the skin. Sunflower oil is also a good choice and it's often more affordable. Pour your oil into the jar until the peppermint is covered and there's an extra inch of oil in the jar itself. That extra oil ensures there is enough oil to keep the herbs covered, even if they expand a bit as they soak up the oil. Use a sanitized dry spoon to mix thoroughly so all surfaces of the herbal material are coated and no air bubbles remain. It's a good idea to check whether enough oil continues to cover the plant material 24 to 48 hours later, as dried herbs can absorb some of the oil. If needed, add a bit more carrier oil to ensure the herbs are covered. Step 3, wipe the rim clean. Then place a square piece of natural parchment paper on top of the jar and seal the jar with a lid. This helps protect the herbal oil from any chemical coating on the lid. Step 4, place several jar lids or a washcloth on the bottom of a slow cooker. You can also use a canning jar rack. Then set the glass canning jar on top. Fill the slow cooker with enough water to cover the jar up to its neck, but below the lid, or at whatever level the mixture inside the jar is at, if it isn't full. Note that you don't have to have a slow cooker to do this. You could make a water bath in a saucepan on the stove. Step 5. Turn your slow cooker on low with the goal of maintaining the water at a low temperature. You want to keep the temperature of the oil below 140 degrees Fahrenheit for about 4 to 8 hours. Measure the temperature every now and then and adjust the heat setting as needed to keep it within the desired temperature range. Also, keep an eye on the water level and replenish it if needed with hot water from the tap. Adding cool water may cause the jar to break. Trust me, it happens. Step 6. After the time is up, remove from the water bath and let the jar cool down before you try to do anything with it. Place a cheesecloth lined strainer inside a large, dry, sanitized bowl or measuring cup with a spout. Pour the contents from the jar into the strainer. With clean, dry hands, gather the ends of the cheesecloth together and squeeze the remaining oil from the herb into the bowl. Make sure you squeeze hard to get every last drop. Pour the oil into a dry, sanitized glass jar, cap, and let it settle overnight. The next day, pour the oil into a dry, sanitized glass bottle or jar, preferably darker colored, being careful to avoid pouring out any of the remaining herb particulates that have settled to the bottom of the jar. And cap tightly. You'll want a label so you know what it is and when you made it. You've just made a lovely peppermint infused oil that smells great. That's it. It's simple, right? Now let's talk about what you can actually do with it. You can add it to a lip balm for that refreshing, cooling tingle that peppermint gives. Use it in a chest oil or salve for clearing respiratory congestion during cold and flu infections in the fall and winter. You could massage it into your scalp to encourage circulation and add some shine to your hair. Blend it into a bug repellent along with other herb-infused oils like citronella or lavender. You could dab a little bit on your temples or the back of your neck to ease tension headaches. Stir it into a body butter or cream for cooling foot massages at the end of the day. Do you see how quickly one oil can become integral to multiple herbal preparations and is useful in a variety of ways? So let me ask you, which of these uses would you try first? Would you make a lip balm, a chest rub, maybe even a scalp oil or a headache roller? Drop your answers in the chat. I'd love to hear what you want to create. I also want to tell you about one of our students, Sarah. For the longest time, Sarah kept reading about herbal oils, but never actually made one. She said she was nervous that it would be too complicated to make, or even that it would spoil. And she didn't want to waste her herbs, so she stayed stuck in that just learning stage instead of trying it. Finally, she decided to give the heated maceration technique using a slow cooker a try using dried peppermint. Afterwards, she laughed and told me, I thought I'd need some kind of fancy setup, but it was literally just my slow cooker and a jar. After Sarah strained her oil, melted in a little beeswax, and poured it into tins to make lip balm. A few days later, her kids came back asking for more of that minty lip stuff. This made her realize she had moved from reading about herbs to actually making something that her family loved and used. The best part? She said the whole process gave her confidence. It showed her that she could really do this, and it didn't have to be complicated. That's exactly the kind of win I want you all to have too. Now you might still be wondering, is the heated maceration technique using a slow cooker water bath the only way to make herb-infused oils? No. This is safe and simple method, but it's one of many. There are others, like solar infusions, the stovetop water bath, room temperature infusion, just to name a few. Each has its own strengths, depending on the herb and carrier oils that you are using, how quickly you need the oil, the equipment that you have on hand, and whether you are using dried or fresh herbs. What if I don't have a slow cooker? No problem. You can still use dried herbs with other infusion methods. Or you can create a water bath in a saucepan on the stovetop. The key is understanding the principles of this approach and why you might choose it. And that's exactly what we'll keep teaching in this series. Another concern might be, what if I forget about my oil and it spoils? It happens. I've done it myself. You tuck the jar away, life gets busy, and then months later you pull it out and think, that doesn't look quite right. Here's what to look for so you know right away if something is off. If you ever see mold starting to form on the surface of the plant material or the oil itself, it's gone off. A sour or funky smell when you open the jar may mean it's gone off. The smell of crayons typically means that the oil is bad. If there's a cloudiness that doesn't go away, these are all big red flags that your oil has gone bad. But let me reassure you, that doesn't mean you failed. Every herbalist has lost a batch at some point. It's part of the learning process. The important thing is that once you know these signs, you can catch it early and also know how to avoid it next time. Remember to check that your herbs are fully dried when adding them to the oil. Keep your jar in a cool, dark place, and make sure that the lid is sealed. So if this happens to you, please don't stress. Each oops is a learning lesson that will help you build your skill set. So now that you've made peppermint infused herbal oil along with me, this is a big win already. But the real fun starts when you take that herbal oil and you use it as an ingredient in other herbal preparations. This goes from practical to luxurious. In our next workshop, Herbal Academy lead educator Felicia Ruiz is going to show you how to do just that, as she teaches you how to transform your herbal oil into convenient and useful salve. This is one of the simplest, most useful skills that you can learn, because once you know how to make a salve, you can branch out into all kinds of balms for body and lips, lotion bars, cuticle creams, bug bite sticks. It all starts with the same process of adding beeswax to your herb infused oil. Felicia will walk you through step by step, show you how to get the texture just right, and share tips that will extend the shelf life so your salves last. We'll even talk about a couple of quick tricks, like how to harden them faster if you're in a rush. This is where your herb infused oil really extends its versatility and becomes something that you'll want to keep in your bag, in your bathroom, and in your herbal first aid kit. Don't miss it. The next session ties everything together. But before we end class for today, don't forget to grab your free download, the Peppermint Infused Herbal Oil Recipe Card. It gives you the exact steps we covered today, so you don't have to rely on memory. Print it or keep the digital copy on your phone so it's right there when you're ready to make your first batch. Now, here's your homework. Make a jar of peppermint infused herbal oil this week. Even if it's your very first herbal project, I promise you this is doable. Just one heat-safe glass jar, some dried peppermint leaf, some oil, a slow cooker, and a fine mesh strainer and or cheesecloth are the only supplies you'll need to get started. Show us your progress, post a picture, tag us, or leave a comment to share how it's going. It's so inspiring for everyone else in this community to see what you are creating. Tell us how you plan to use it. Will it become a refreshing lip balm, a clearing chest rub, a scalp oil for shine, or maybe a bug repellent roller or a headache blend? There are so many possibilities, and I'd love to hear which direction you're most excited about. Remember, the hardest part is just getting started. Once you've made this first oil, you'll realize how simple it really is. And that confidence will carry you into every herbal project you do next. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I can't wait to hear about how your peppermint infused herbal oil turns out. And please be sure to join us in the next session. We'll take this exact oil and turn it into a chest rub that you'll want to keep stocked in your herb cupboard all winter long.